We're starting with Raw, and CM Punk opened the show by addressing his upcoming Hell in a Cell match, which will be the third chapter in his rivalry with Drew McIntyre. The match was confirmed last week following McIntyre's ambush on Punk a week prior, and with both men holding a PLE win each, this match will settle the score. A somber but determined Punk said he's often asked how much longer he'll wrestle, and said that while he plans on wrestling longer than fans expect, this match could be his last. Punk's family have urged him not to participate, but he refuses to back out, and he vowed to make McIntyre bleed in the cell, adding that he'll fight to the very end, even if it risks everything. Punk concluded with an ominous, "I'll see you in hell," and it's promos like these that show why Punk is booked as he is, as this was another case of mastering the mic. Fans may have expected McIntyre to interrupt, but instead he was seen watching Raw in his home, where he reflected on his 32-week-long rivalry, claiming he's done all the heavy lifting. McIntyre mocked Punk for his time off due to injury, and added that he's at home not because he's choosing to take a break, but because management requested him to stay at home. This is to protect the main event of Bad Blood, and Drew added that he's spending time with his family, and that for all Punk's claims, he only has one match left in his career. Vowing that one of them would not walk out of Hell in a Cell, Bad Blood is certainly shaping up to be the end of their feud, bringing closure to one of WWE's top angles of 2024. Do you think this feud will end inside Hell in a Cell? Is CM Punk's victory a sure thing, or are you expecting some kind of twist? Sound off down in the comments. When Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed fought on the August 26th Raw, their match ended in a no contest, but this week, their match never even got the chance to begin. The two men brawled in the backstage area, around the ring, and finally in the ring, and when Strowman rammed Reed into the turnbuckle, the top rope snapped. Strowman hit a chokeslam on Reed and kicked him outside of the ring, but when Strowman went for his freight train spot outside the ring, Reed threw a fan at his opponent. Getting hit with another man didn't keep Strowman down, however, and when he trucked into Reed again outside the ring, the pair went crashing through the barricade. The match was thrown out as Reed attempted to leave through the backstage area, avoiding Gorilla, but he taunted Strowman, who was celebrating in the ring, reigniting their brawl. The two fought into the backstage area, and Strowman initially took control, tipping a golf cart and messing with a camera and the broadcast picture. Reed hit a tsunami onto Strowman through some tables, but Braun got up and sent himself and Reed through some drywall, causing a ton of things to come crashing down. The segment ended with both men still down, with officials and emergency personnel coming to the aid, and it's clear this will inevitably lead to a blow-off match between the two. Unfortunately, that match may not be anytime soon, as PW Torch reports that Bronson's right shoulder was legit injured during the wall segment, though the severity of it is unknown at the moment. Nevertheless, that match will happen when the time is right for Reed, and fans can expect a fun bout that'll continue establishing Reed as a top-tier threat on Raw. If another match between the two is coming, what stipulation should it take place under? Let us know down in the comments. In the run-up to the debut of the Wyatt 6, WWE would share QR codes that would lead fans to cryptic clues, but these stopped being used after the group's arrival in June. Well, during this week's Raw, a cryptic video played, which wasn't the case during the build-up to the faction's arrival, and this video ended with a brand new QR code. Scanning this code led to the journal website of Uncle Howdy used earlier this year, but now with a new diary entry titled Freighter, which is the Latin word for brother. The entry reads, "The bond of a family is a cat of nine tails, bound through suffering. We see you, brother. When you need us, we will be there." It certainly sounds like the group wants to bring in a new member, which won't be Alexa Bliss based on the use of brother, and there was a new feature to the website. Pressing the mute button on any page brought fans to an image of some papers covered in clues, including the code L102537. Many believe this is a nod to the Bible and the Gospel according to Luke, and this particular passage is the story of the Good Samaritan, but this wasn't the biggest clue featured. In fact, it was the file name that proved to be the biggest clue, as this image is titled Arbin, which is an anagram of Braun. With that in mind, it appears that the Wyatt 6 want to bring in Braun Strowman, who was also a brother of sorts to the Wyatt family. Clicking on the recycle bin on the website leads to an image of Bo Dallas watching the TV, and in the corner, coordinates can be seen, which are for a location called Brothers in Oregon. Clicking the line at the bottom of the page takes you to an anagram puzzle with the answer reading, "My life for you. I lay down my life for you," in another cryptic message. Another line that's clickable leads to a puzzle that gives the answer, do you know why you're afraid when you're alone? The big question now is whether Braun will join, as Strowman rejected a chance to join Wyatt's side in 2020. But if he says no, that could make him a target of the Wyatt Six. If Braun does join though, does that mean Alexa Bliss can't become a member? As it would be odd to have 7 living members in a group named the Wyatt Six. On Twitter, WWE's official account also got in on the crypticness, sharing the video from Raw with the message, "Can you keep a secret?" a line used during the last Firefly Funhouse. During that final episode, it was teased that somebody could be walking through the door. And could that person be Braun? Is he the right pick for the Wyatt Six? Let us know down below. Backstage, Finn Bálor revealed to Rhea Ripley that the entire time that Liv Morgan was chasing Dominik Mysterio, he was the one encouraging Dom to go with Liv. Jey Uso then arrived to try and protect Ripley, but Jey also dropped the hint that he might not have been right when he said Ripley was out of his league, and Rhea herself said no. Just 7 days ahead from possibly winning his first singles title, Jey Uso came face-to-face with Bron Breakker on Raw and took a deeply personal shot at the Intercontinental Champion. Jey, who won a fatal 4-way last week to earn the title match, came out this week to hype up the bout, and it was inevitable that Bron would come out after they'd interacted backstage. Breakker mocked Jey by stating he's had more success as a single star in 6 months than the Samoan has had in nearly a decade and a half, but Jey had some choice words of his own. Uso said that for all Bron knows, his IC title reign will be short and sweet, just like his NFL career, and this infuriated the champion, who attacked the Yeet Master. When Breakker went for the spear, Jey beat him to it and hit the move instead, and for those unaware, Bron was an NFL aspirant but went undrafted in the league. He was later signed by the Baltimore Ravens but was released within 6 months, and while Jey may have won the battle this week, fans can expect Bron to win the war. Typically, if a challenger stands tall a week before their title match, that's a sign that the champion will retain, and that's exactly what transpired this week. Factor in how WWE management is very behind the champ, and all signs seem to point to Bron Breakker enjoying a long reign with the Intercontinental Championship. On AEW TV, Mercedes Mone can often be found bragging about being the company's top woman and having plenty of perks with that status, and these claims aren't just for the show. Ringside News reports that Mone is receiving special treatment backstage at AEW events, including being accompanied by her own entourage and a private locker room. This treatment has caused friction within the locker room, and one of the most notable tensions backstage involves Britt Baker, who is said to have multiple issues behind the scenes. Mone is said to be a major source of frustration, and it's reported that Saraya has expressed her dislike for Mone to others backstage within AEW. As we previously reported, Conan has claimed that there was a heated confrontation between Mone and Baker after their All-In match over spots that didn't quite work out as planned. With AEW's backstage drama once again making headlines, many are again pointing the finger of blame at Tony Khan, who seemingly has prioritized those coming in from outside AEW. While signing Mone was a big score for Khan, the amount of perks she's received has left many who've been with AEW for far longer than the CEO feeling unappreciated. It was the likes of Saraya and Baker who were part of the effort to keep AEW steady after All Out 2022, but that has seemingly counted for very little in 2024, at least in Khan's eyes. Sources add that backstage drama has become a regular occurrence in AEW, with conflicts arising nearly every week, and that not every issue between talent has become public. Based on what we do know of, though, it is evident that tensions are simmering behind the scenes, and the drama shows no signs of disappearing anytime soon. Do you think Mercedes Mone should be given special treatment? What would you do to settle down these backstage issues? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Next year, AEW All-In won't take place in Wembley Stadium like previous years, but will instead take place in Texas, marking AEW's first stadium event in the United States. With AEW now hosting events in Wembley Stadium, many fans predict WWE will follow suit, and those in AEW are reportedly also of this belief. Ringside News reports that AEW believes WWE plans to host a PLE in Wembley next year, which could be why AEW opted not to host All-In inside the venue in 2025. If WWE does host a show in Wembley in 2025, it won't be WrestleMania, which has already been confirmed for Las Vegas, Nevada, and will take place on April 19th and 20th. John Cena told fans at Money in the Bank 2023 that he wants to bring WrestleMania to London, and while that won't happen next year, expect a WWE PLE in Wembley in the near future. In World Tag Team title action, The New Day had everything to gain on Raw after not holding titles since April 2021, and the duo largely ran through the Judgment Day in this match. That changed when the Judgment Day's remaining members, Carlito, Dominik Mysterio, and Liv Morgan, approached the ring, but the LWO was quick to respond. Kofi Kingston delivered a crossbody to the chaos outside of the ring, while Xavier Woods landed a clean springboard elbow on JD McDonough, and realistically should have gotten the pin there. The referee, however, had abandoned the match to tend to the chaos at ringside and didn't count the pin, and a frustrated Woods had to pull the official back to the contest. When Woods tried to capitalize on McDonough, the Irish Ace delivered a blind tag to Finn Bálor, who hit a coup de grace on the restrained Woods for the win. Thanks to outside interference and a messy referee, though, Finn Bálor and JD McDonough successfully defended their titles for the first time on TV in their 71-day reign. Post-match, an exasperated Woods shoved Kofi away and walked up the ramp himself, and in a backstage segment, Kingston said he asked the LWO to aid them in the match. Kofi unknowingly contradicted Woods' earlier request to Damian Priest and Jey Uso to stay in the back, and Woods scolded his friend for his lack of faith in their group without Big E. Woods went even further, shouting at Kofi for an apparent lack of faith in Woods himself, continuing the slow burn of Xavier growing fed up with his longtime tag team partner. This began with a feud between Woods and Karrion Kross and briefly involved the ill-fated Odyssey Jones, who, as expected, was not seen or heard from during this week's Raw. Speaking of Jones, Fightful Select reports that although it was previously reported that Jones has been released, WWE still hasn't confirmed reports of his departure, and it looks like WWE is waiting on the official word regarding his accusations. As far as the New Day is concerned, they will hit their 10-year anniversary this month, but it seems their split is inevitable. And are you sad that one of WWE's most popular factions is coming to an end? Backstage, Damian Priest was in an interview with Kathy Kelly, but was interrupted by Liv Morgan, who demanded Kelly to leave before she took digs at Priest. Morgan said it wasn't hard for the Judgment Day to choose her and Dominik Mysterio over Priest and Rhea Ripley, and said she wishes he heard what the boys in the group said about them. Liv blasted the Terror Twins as pathetic and desperate losers, but Priest fired back, saying he couldn't believe anybody in the Judgment Day has a set. Priest warned Morgan that when Rhea Ripley faces her at Bad Blood, it's over for the Women's World Champ, and urged her to give her scumbag boyfriend a kiss goodbye. Priest ended the segment by calling Morgan sucia, which is Spanish for dirty, as the former World Heavyweight Champion wasn't in the mood to play games on this week's show. The match between Dominik Mysterio and Damian Priest was a fun one full of great spots before the crowd-pleasing finish gave way to the heels shining bright. After the match, the Judgment Day ganged up on Priest and attacked him in the ring, but Jey Uso's music hit and he came down to the ring. Jey couldn't get in due to the numbers advantage, and Braun Breaker took this opportunity to hit him with a spear, allowing the Judgment Day to continue their attack on Priest and Rhea Ripley. Finn Bálor hit Priest with multiple coup de grace while Liv Morgan forced Mommy to watch, and this was the second consecutive week WWE Creative had the heels beat down the faces. WWE is rehabbing the credibility of the Judgment Day, and the faction looked like a dominant force as they stood tall over the Terror Twins. Priest vs. Bálor and Ripley vs. Morgan at Bad Blood will have the potential to be show stealers as fans continue to enjoy this storyline, which is doing wonders for all involved. On Raw, Sami Zayn again campaigned for a shot at Gunther's World Heavyweight title, only for Ludwig Kaiser to come out and deny the request on behalf of his ally. After Sami Zayn tried to drive a wedge between Kaiser and Der Ring General, Gunther came to the ring, and Kaiser was able to get the jump on the Canadian. This plan soon backfired as Kaiser ate a haluva kick, and later in the show, the frustrated German told Kathy Kelly that he'll expose Sami in their match next week on Raw. Ludwig Kaiser explained how Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn betray each other at every opportunity, and ended by saying Sami will never be a world champion. The last time fans saw AJ Styles compete on WWE TV, it was back at June's Clash at the Castle show, and while it was reported that a return was coming in August, that didn't happen. This has left fans curious as to when Styles will be back, and while that remains unclear, fans will be pleased to know that his absence isn't due to an injury or health issues. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select reports that Styles is healthy and simply isn't being used on TV, but that he did work 5 world title matches with Cody Rhodes during WWE's European tour. Styles also worked last month's tour of Japan, again in world title matches, so it's not like the Phenomenal One is dealing with an injury that's keeping him away. With SmackDown's move to the USA Network, this could be the right time to bring him back to TV, but for now, there's no confirmation on when AJ Styles will be in front of WWE's cameras. When CM Punk walked out of WWE in 2014, there were some who expected he'd be back, though they likely felt it'd take much less than 10 years before he returned. During his time away from WWE, Punk got married, joined UFC, left UFC, did movies, and had his AEW run, and one person who's always kept an eye on him is Paul Heyman. Speaking to Not Sam Wrestling, Heyman was asked about Punk's return to WWE and why it matters, and spoke of Punk's struggles being necessary to earn his top spot back in WWE. He said, "It's destiny. CM Punk is back where he belongs, and that's on top in WWE. Like any other rebel, you know the old saying, you have to go through hell before you get to heaven. CM Punk's struggle is real, and he remains a rebel to this day. But a rebel will never reach the top or get his due on his own merit without going through pure, blatant, bloody hell. That hell wasn't just in WWE, he had to endure it elsewhere as well. Everybody had to see it, hear about it, and know about it, and sit there and go, my God, will somebody please one time give this talented man the platform that he deserves? It's been over 20 years now that he's been on the national stage, and he still doesn't get a chance to demonstrate his greatness. He finally has the chance to step out from the hell he's been enduring." It's ironic that Heyman speaks of Punk stepping out of hell, as he'll next be stepping into Hell in a Cell next month for his first match inside the structure in 11 years. CM Punk had a long road back to WWE, and while his comeback has seen its own pitfalls like his injury, fans can expect to see plenty from the best in the world in a WWE ring. It was on the post-Bash in Berlin Raw that Drew McIntyre ambushed CM Punk, forcing him to miss the following week's show, but this segment wasn't due to what happened in Germany. According to Sean Ross Sapp on his Backstage Report podcast, Punk was always scheduled to miss the September 9th Raw, and his absence had nothing to do with the strap match. More from AEW now, as Britt Baker and Adam Cole have been open about their relationship for years, but recently it was claimed that the pair are no longer together. Rumors of a split between the two first sprang up last month when on his Discord server, Cole revealed that he was planning on moving from Florida to Pennsylvania. While Britt is from Pittsburgh, this led to speculation of a split as Baker works as a dentist in Florida, and the two have previously shared a home in the state. More recently, Conan claimed that the couple were no longer together, and according to one alleged source, Cole was better off without the unhinged former women's champion. Now we have another update on this situation, as Ringside News reports that the couple split 6 months ago, according to a source close to the situation. At this time, neither Baker nor Adam Cole have confirmed reports of their split, and we'll keep following this situation for any updates from either AEW star. As we mentioned, Britt Baker is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and while AEW will return to the Keystone State this year, fans may not be seeing the DMD in her home state. In promotional material for AEW in Pennsylvania, Baker is nowhere to be seen, which has fueled expectations among fans that she has heat backstage. AEW will host its 5-year anniversary of Dynamite in Pittsburgh on October 2nd, and while plenty of stars are on the poster, it remains to be seen if Baker competes in front of her hometown crowd. Bianca Belair and Kairi Sane were originally slated for this week's Raw before Io Sky approached the EST, and a match was made between them instead. This was due to the eye injury Sane recently suffered, and WWE not wanting her to get back in the ring until she's fully healed from this gruesome setback. Sane dove to the outside during last week's show and her face caught the commentary table, resulting in a bloodied eye that required stitches. The Pirate Princess was said to be relatively fine after this injury, but things changed at the last minute at Raw, resulting in her match with Bianca Belair this week being changed. Instead, fans were treated to Belair vs. Sky, the best match of the night at this point, and Bianca's power and athleticism was met with Sky's elusiveness and speed. Belair hoisted Sky for the KOD, only for the former women's champion to counter into a small package for the win, and the chemistry between these two was off the charts. This match also gave Sky and Damage Control some much-needed momentum, and fans can look forward to an inevitable tag team match against Belair and Jade Cargill. On last week's SmackDown, indie wrestler Ricky Gibson came close to teaming with Kevin Owens, but instead ate a stunner from the former Universal Champion. While fans thought that'd be the last they'd see of Ricky at a WWE event, it turns out that he was at this week's Raw, and even got a picture with Raw GM Adam Pearce. Gibson's time on Raw didn't see him take any finishing moves, which is a step in the right direction for him, but how did his appearance at SmackDown come to be? On Busted Open Radio, Gibson said he was contracted by WWE's Gabe Sapolsky to work as an extra for events in Seattle and Portland, and took the opportunity to attend SmackDown. Ricky went hoping to get noticed, and that certainly happened. And would you like to see more of him in WWE? Sound off in the comments section below. Before an NXT superstar gets called up to the main roster, WWE often tests them by putting them on main event to see how they'll fare in front of a big crowd. In the run-up to Raw, PW Insider reported that Gallus and Sol Ruca were at the show, and that's because they competed at the latest WWE main event tapings. Ruca lost to Alba Fire, while Gallus came up short against Alpha Academy, but the fact that they competed shows WWE's faith in these talents, which could soon find a home outside of NXT. Ahead of this week's Raw, Jackie Redmond shared that she would not be at the show as she's on vacation, but that news clearly wasn't given to those in WWE's production team. Despite Redmond's absence, WWE showed a graphic of all outside ring personnel, such as commentators, ring announcers, and backstage correspondents, and Jackie was among them. On Twitter, Redmond poked fun at this, joking that people should aspire to be so good that you're there, even when you're not. Redmond will be back soon enough after her vacation, and according to those in WWE's production, it's like she never left her role at Monday Night Raw. In women's action, Natalya out-wrestled Zoe Stark and caught her with a schoolboy to get the win in a perfectly acceptable match that was interrupted by a commercial break. That resulted in the match being unable to reach its fullest potential, and we can't ignore that the Pure Fusion Collective isn't hitting like it should. Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Sonya Deville have been hamstrung by a questionable name and theme song, and alongside a string of losses, this is a formula for indifference. Sheamus and Pete Dunne wrote the latest chapter in their intense rivalry on Raw, and in the closing moment of the match, Dunne introduced the shillelagh into the mix. After resisting the urge to utilize the weapon, and with the referee distracted, Sheamus turned directly into a cricket bat to the face that allowed the Brit to score the tainted pinfall victory. It felt too soon for this feud to end, so Dunne winning helps build him momentum and heat, and guarantees that a rematch will be coming when the time is right. Fans who'd chanted Butch at him earlier in the match were booing him by its end, and with the pair tied 1-1 in singles matches, expect a rubber match to be just as brutal. But what do you think of this match and this feud? Let us know below.